afternoon, South Africa, and welcome to Afternoon Express. It's Bonnie and my favorite day of the week. It's Friday, Bonnie.
Yeah, we look like we're going to the beach.
It feels like
we're going to the beach.
We should not be at work right now.
Yeah, Kyle Deutsch,
Shekinah, yes, yes.
Today we're kicking off the weekend with some incredibly talented performers, both local and international. Joining us in the loft is performance artist, choreographer and musician Mantere Bane, who comes from a Bantula background and has worked with some of the country's biggest artists, including Mafigizolo, Toya Delezi and Dianford.
Indeed. Plus, she'll be treating us to live performance later in the show, so stay tuned for that. And then from local style to classical prowess, we'll be chatting to another professional dancer by the name of Vuyo Mahashe, who specializes in a variety of styles, including ballet and contemporary.
Yeah, and first up, though, joining us all the way from the UK is renowned experimental producer Simbad Stanislas. He travels the world collaborating with various artists, one of which was top South African musician Brian Temba.
I need you. 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 I need you.
Un peu de cheddar, du pain complet. C'est d'ici, j'ai l'art du plein complet. Club sandwich, faut nous appeler. Pourquoi ce nom? C'était mieux que cassoulet. Y'a trop de musique pasteurisée. MP3 lyophilisée. Où c'est club sandwich, Champs-Élysées. De la musique bio, pas de flow déguisé. Des rimes poules et sauce mayonnaise. Dans ta bouche, ça glisse à l'aise. Comme c'est d'ici intraitable. On se tient pas bien à table. Mon AKA c'est David Kefta. J'ai le groupe et le groove qui te disent lève-toi. Tu découvres, mais t'es ouf, mec, tu connais pas. Mais t'es con, t'as du coup, bah c'est pas normal.
I need you. I need you. I need you. I need you.
Bonjour, Simbad. Welcome to Afternoon Express.
Merci beaucoup. Hello, guys. You all right?
Yeah, lovely to
Very
have you
good.
with us.
Very exciting to be here.
Awesome. And I love your scarf.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is from a South African artist called... oh, that's too bad. She lives in London. Yumi We is her brand.
Oh, wow.
Chantel.
What a nice
That's
name.
lovely.
You, me, we.
Yeah.
You're also half French and half Polish.
That's right.
What's that like?
I don't know. We live in a world where everything is mixed up, I guess. you know.
Right.
But I live in the UK. I live in London.
Okay,
Yes,
that explains
So
everything.
French and Polish together makes Polish. So it's almost like
Woo! I
one
like
letter
that.
away from foolish.
Yes.
Getting there. Now listen, not only do you have that kind of background associated with you, you also speak multiple languages. You've got quite a love, I guess, then for language. Has it been something that you've always grown up with? Has always been a part of who you are, is learning to love language?
You know what? I think I make music, so language is like sound, and I've been lucky to travel the world since I'm a kid. My mom being archaeologist and an ethnologist, we moved from country to country, like different...
Doing research projects and...
Yeah, different continents. So every time you would live in a place for a few years, few months, you obviously embrace the language, and when you're a kid, you absorb much quicker. So yeah, I guess, and it's I think I don't know, sounds. I associate that with music. It's the same thing for me, anyway.
You know, during the research, looking at the body of music that you have made over your lifetime, it's quite impressive. I mean, it's like 6 pages of just...
Is it? Sorry. Like.
I mean, are you a workhorse? How do you end up with so much music?
You know what? I started as a musician. I was in Paris, and I went for... I used to do like these jungle nights and hang out in jazz clubs, and I was like in my late teens. And I met some UK DJs while doing these jungle nights. And they were like, hey man, come to the UK, come to London, check it out. So I went for a summer with my saxophone and I stayed there. And from there, the whole production, you know, I didn't know nothing about electronic music. Once I arrived in the UK, it was just like, wow, what is this? What is garage? What is... I mean, I knew obviously a bit of the jungle scene, but the whole UK electronic music and the history that is with the UK, within the UK, just blew my mind. And I stayed and ended up starting collaborating with different people, starting a label, starting to get into the machines, the whole production. I'm still learning, but I'm very lucky to be able to travel the world as a DJ, but also doing these different projects with different labels, one being Brunswood, Giles Peterson's label. We've done a lot of stuff from in South America yeah, it's been an amazing journey. But I'm still learning. You know,
Sure.
I believe you learn with the best as well. So
What's cool about your journeys, I mean, just in the local scene in South Africa, there's been a lot of talk about some of the producers that are this side that are stealing music, and everyone's talking about the authenticity of music production and DJing, what that means, the difference between a DJ and a producer, and can you be both? And you've got a very organic sort of progress from being a musician yourself to understanding music to then creating music, then creating music for others, and so you've kind of got that full spectrum.
Absolutely.
Is that the key to a successful, like to be a successful DJ, is to really understand music first and foremost, the primary elements of notes, tones, sound?
you know what? I believe that regardless of the vocabulary that you use, for me, I knew from an early age that I inherited from my mom's ear. So music was my thing, whatever it would be. But I guess you know, when you come to production, your whole knowledge and understanding of frequencies changes. So I'm still learning. That's what I mean, because from project to project, whether you're mixing down or recording live musicians or doing deep electronic stuff, there's always space to learn. For me, that's what it's all about. I want to become a master one day eventually in what I do, and be free, like be able to really be free in my creativity. This is why I like to tap into different, you know, vibes and scenes.
Genres and
yeah, pretty much. That's what excites me.
Sure. It's clear that you travel a whole lot. And do you find that when you're traveling and you're making music in these different spaces, that your music is your sound is influenced by the culture around you and the people that you meet?
Absolutely. Totally. Even to see how people express themselves differently from, you know, South America, Africa, islands, Asia, you know, all these spots where you play the music that you play and people have a different reaction or are excited more with the sound. So for me, that's fascinating because you keep on like being challenged as well, you know?
So speaking of, I mean, you're in South Africa at the moment. It's not your first time in the country. And what influences do you take from here? What are the sort of things you're seeing from the scene as sort of an external?
Oh, okay, so first of all, South Africa, like from Joburg to Cape Town, very different scene, in my opinion. I think like since last time I came to Joburg, for example, I think now it's a bit more open-minded musically. Cape Town always had a bit of UK vibes. I mean, I remember playing some jungle like last time here, and people got it straight away. And then someone told me, oh yeah, there's a bit of a drum bass scene here or whatnot. But now I think the South African sound in like house music, because here house music is like pop music, right? It's one of the only country in the world where you will hear house music in the shops, in the taxi, you know, like everywhere. That doesn't happen in the world, in any other places. A part of it, you know, maybe you have a few songs or you have specialized shows, but otherwise here, house music is everywhere, which for me is incredible.
Wow.
And also you have the South African sound with, you know, that specific, I mean, there's this sound, there's also the chrome stuff, which is also amazing.
Yay!
And you pronounced it so well there.
I don't know. But it's so there's different, like Durban sound. There's definitely some very interesting genres that are coming out from South Africa that are also influencing the whole world.
Yeah.
And now I think like maybe like the first time I met Black Coffee was maybe 10 years ago in Miami, and then we met again in Atlanta. But right at that point, I was very new, and everyone was like, "Wow, what is this sound?" You know. And now it's like everyone knows it pretty much. You can play, you know, I'll play this some sound like that in Asia, and people will get it.
Yeah.
So I think there's been an amazing evolution in South African music. Not to mention also all the singers that you guys have here. It's incredible. There's some amazing artists, and also MCs. You know.
Yes.
And some of the labels like Hyperdub, you know, they signed some. South African artists, so I think, I think South Africa is on the map, and it's, you know, I'm glad it is, and I'm glad to be here to also, you know, meet more people.
We're on the map and on the dance floor. So
yeah. No, people dance here, man. It's amazing.
Yeah,
people love music. They go out of work. Let's go to, you know, have some drinks and hear some house music.
Yeah,
it's like, what?
yeah,
on a Tuesday? That's wicked.
That's our life.
No, I mean
that's our life.
That's wicked, man.
Cool.
It's different.
You can imagine when you've got two left feet like myself, you feel really left out in South Africa.
For sure.
People dance hard.
Yeah.
We'll be back with more from Simbad after the break. Plus, we're heading to the kitchen where Chef Clem is proving that a feast doesn't need to be unhealthy or expensive. We'll be right back.
back to Afternoon Express. It's a Friday, it's the weekend. We've got international producer and DJ Simbad joining us on the Afternoon Express couch. And we've been chatting a bit about your international travels and learning more about your life as it's been and kind of how you've learned about the South African culture and how we're making a real big stamp on the international market. I'm very inspired by how you are trying to promote South Africa and kind of really coming here to take some inspiration. So thanks for coming to visit the country and looking forward to making South Africans dance.
Yeah. So you also host workshops all over the world. Are there any that you'll be hosting while you're here?
Maybe not this time because of timing issues, but probably further in the year, springtime or while I do gigs, like maybe some master classes or stuff like that.
And what do the workshops particularly entail? What do you offer?
You know what? Because now everyone produces, the technology that we have makes things much easier. And everything is available on internet to learn stuff. So I guess when I do master classes, there's people asking questions, whether it's mixing questions, technical questions, or just plainly about the music industry, how to promote yourself, what's the best, album tracks, all kinds of. I mean, it's quite. It's quite
diverse,
big.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Speak to me a little bit about the Cuba project. It sounded very interesting while I was doing some research on it. So, yeah, what was that about? 'Cause I'm sure that's...
Yeah, so basically, I work with Brownswood Recordings, which is a label based in London that Giles Peterson started. We've been working for the last 10 years together. And the first time I went to Cuba was, I think, in 2007 or 2008. And we've done... So Havana Cultura in Cuba promotes artists from there, and they try to reach out to the world promoting these artists, whether they're singers, dancers, painters. And we decided to do like some musical projects, like showcasing talents that were not necessarily known around the world. So we've done, every year we've been going there producing these albums. The last ones that we've done was this singer called Daime Arosena. She's like 23, 24 years old now. That's her third album on the way. I mean, it came out a few months ago. I've produced the first two, and it's been an amazing journey to see how now she's the voice of Cuba. And Cuba is a place that I've seen change year after year. I remember like the first time I went there, I was doing this project with Mala. So we released an album called Mala in Cuba, which is like so Mala is Don is one of the dubstep originators with the DMZ crew, Coke and Mala and all that. And basically, so we're fusing the Cuban rhythms, some artists, with more electronic depth. And the amazing thing is, when I got there the first time, there was no internet. It was very limited. So the electronic music there, kind of unknown of, so
underground.
Yeah, and it's only a few people that knew like a bit of house and techno, but very little. So when we played that the first time, it was amazing. People were like, "What is this music? What is it?" And it was incredible. And every year I would leave like hard drives of music, and then in the last few years the internet is a bit better, so people are much more aware. And there's the Miami, La Havana connection.
Yes.
So now it's a bit more diversified, but it's just amazing to go to a place that has been untouched in a way, and then suddenly you see it evolve and change, and it's kind of like, as much as it has influenced you as well, you bring some influences there,
Sure. It's rewarding.
Yeah. I mean, I really like, if anyone could, I wish to everyone to go to Cuba one day. Just because it's a beautiful island, and the music.
Don't leave it untouched. We want to go.
No, absolutely.
Leave it untouched.
Yeah,
the culture, the rhythms. It's incredible. It's an amazing place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any South African musicians that you look forward to working with, or that you're thinking about working with?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm going to work again with my friend Brian Temba, because he's phenomenal. I met yesterday. I heard Sandy, a guy called Sandy Blaus. I was like, yo, this MC is
Sandy,
wicked.
Yeah.
I mean, there's quite a few people. I can't remember all the names right now due to my lack of sleep. But to be honest, yes, I really look forward to tap more into the scene here, and because there's some amazing talents and voices.
Awesome.
Also, someone told me about a singer that I can't remember her name. That's too bad.
There's so many of them. I mean, you've got lots of opportunities.
Yeah.
And let's talk quickly, because I'm listening to the way that you're speaking about music. You're not one of those like DJs. You're quite a gentle, quiet, reserved guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that through your music experience that you've had, you've really delved into the meaning and purpose behind music, not necessarily just the beat creation and the dance floor. So you clearly are a philosophical human. Do you have like a philosophy on life?
Oh gosh. I mean, I live pretty much day by day, you know, and I'm grateful to do what I love. But I believe like if you have a call or you have an intuition to what you want to do it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's going to be super hard. I'm a musician. Sometimes you're poor, sometimes you're less poor. But at the end of the day, it's what makes you happy that will really like truly, whatever you kind of wish for. If you want it with your mind and soul, then eventually everything comes together. And sometimes it's just the fear of leaving a comfort place or a place where you kind of like, you don't have to, you know, to...
The next step isn't clear.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's the key, really. But I'm really lucky to be free in that way, you know. And I kind of knew from an early age what I wanted to do. But yeah, man, I'm grateful every day. The traveling, meeting people, and learning and just exchanging and seeing projects. Because the hardest thing is to finish things. You know, you can have many experience, but sometimes you have an experience and you need to finish it to put it out there and then move on. And then, because sometimes you can be frustrated if you do stuff and it's not finished, and you know, it's kind of like a knot. And you need to actually, you know, finish it, release it, move on.
Move on.
Yeah. Absolutely right.
Because you never know to what extent the music will travel as well. Everything that you create, sometimes it ends up in places that you'd never imagine. And then people from these places might bring you, be like, hey, and you're like, wow, okay, cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Finish it, release it, move on. Much like our interview.
Yeah.
Release it into the universe and see what happens to the rest of you. Maybe you're a DJ at home and a producer and are learning a lot from our conversation today. If you are, #Afternoon Express.
After the break, we head to the kitchen, and today Chef Clem has a feast for the senses that is not only affordable but healthy too. Plus, we sit down with performance artist Mante Rebane.